All right. So Alexander, are you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you for waiting.
Okay, no problem. Okay, just a minute. Yeah. So in the last session we were discussing about cost, and just a moment. Yeah. So in this chapter, until now, we have discussed the meaning of cost and the types of cost on the basis of nature and source. Also, we have discussed about the different types of basically diagrammatic presentation of fixed costs and the variable costs, and then we have also covered total cost and the marginal cost, all of that. And today we need to start with the average cost, right? So just a minute. Okay. So I gave you these questions for homework. So have you done these questions, Alexander?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any problem, any doubts you want to ask, anything?
Sir, only one doubt.
Yeah, just tell me.
In problem number 4, I'm not able to get the 8th unit's
Yeah,
marginal cost.
that is what I have told you, that in the fourth problem you are not required to calculate the values at the 8th unit. I have basically mistakenly given the 8th unit. Question is only till the 7th unit. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now let's talk about average cost. So let me first explain this entire concept, then we will come back to the PowerPoint and try to understand what is average cost. Okay. So what is average? Average cost. See, average cost basically means cost of producing 1 unit of output. Cost of producing 1 unit of output is called average cost. Sir, then what is marginal cost? See, marginal cost is different, average cost is different. Marginal cost basically means additional cost of producing 1 extra unit of output, right? If we want to produce 1 extra unit, then how much extra amount we will have to spend, that is what marginal costs basically indicate. But on the other hand, if you talk about average cost means cost of producing 1 unit of output, not 1 extra unit of output. So let me explain this concept. Let's suppose we are as a producer, we are producing 20 unit of output, and for producing 20 unit of output we have spent total expenditure that has been incurred was, let's suppose we have spent 5,000 for producing 20 unit of output. So if I ask you that for producing 20 unit of output, if we have spent 5,000, then how much is the amount that we have spent on 1 unit of output? So answer is very simple, sir. 5,000 we have spent for producing 20 unit. So we can simply divide it by 20. 5,000 divided by 20, we will get the expenditure incurred on 1 unit of output, right? So this will be our average cost. Average cost basically means per unit how much amount we have spent, right? So average cost is the cost of producing 1 unit of output. Okay, now see, average cost can be further categorized into 3 parts. There are three types of average cost. Number one, average cost can be categorized as average fixed cost, or it can be categorized as average variable cost, and either it can be categorized as average total cost. Average total cost. So there are three types of average costs. Now, see why there are three types of costs. Let's suppose, let's take one more example to make it more clear. Suppose we are producing 20 unit of output again, and in order to produce any quantity of a product, we have to spend two types of cost. Now, basically we need to spend fixed cost. First of all, we must be incurring certain amount of fixed cost. So let's suppose fixed cost for producing 20 unit of output, fixed cost is 10,000. So fixed cost is mostly, it is independent of the output. Whether you increase the production or decrease the production, it is going to be 10,000. Okay. After that, apart from incurring fixed cost, you must have spent certain amount of expenditure for variable factors of production. So you must have spent variable cost. So your variable cost is, let's suppose, 25,000. Okay. So that means for producing 20 unit of a particular product, you have spent total cost. You have spent total cost of how much? Total cost of 35,000. Now, Alexander, let's suppose if I ask you that if I say that fixed cost 10,000 fixed cost has been spent for producing 20 unit of output, but I just wanted to know how much fixed cost has been incurred on 1 unit of output approximately. If total amount of total 10,000 fixed cost has been spent for producing 20 unit of output, then approximately how much amount I have spent as a fixed cost on producing 1 unit. So you can say, sir, 10,000 has been spent for producing 20 unit. So this simply means you have spent 500 rupee on each unit, right? This will be my fixed cost for 1 unit. So amount incurred as a fixed cost for producing 1 unit of output will be called average fixed cost. This is our average fixed cost. And what is the formula to calculate average fixed cost? It is very simple. Average fixed cost is calculated by dividing the total fixed cost by the quantity or the output. Similarly, if I ask you that just like you have calculated the average fixed cost, can you also tell me the variable cost incurred on 1 unit of output? It is given in the question that I have spent 25,000 for producing 20 unit of output, but I wanted to know how much approximately I have spent on variable factors for producing 1 unit of output. So you can simply say, sir, basically you want to know the average variable cost. So for calculating average variable cost, we can divide the total variable cost incurred divided by the quantity produced. So this will give us the answer. So it will be how much? 12,000. Sorry, 1250. Right? So this will be the average variable cost. And what is the formula to calculate average variable cost? It is very simple. AVC equals to total variable cost divided by quantity. This is the formula that we are applying here. Okay. And after that, just like you did the average of the fixed and the variable, can you also do the average of the total cost? Answer is yes. So how to calculate average total cost? We will simply divide the total cost by the quantity. By doing that, we will be able to calculate average total cost. So total cost divided by quantity will give you 20,000 divided by 35,000. It will be 1750. This will be your average total cost. Tell me, Alexander, is this clear that what is average cost and what are the different types of average cost? Is that clear to
Yes.
you?
Yes.
No. Now, see, one of the formula to calculate average cost is this, total cost divided by quantity. But we have an alternative formula as well to calculate average total cost. Instead of dividing the total cost by quantity, we can simply add average fixed cost and average variable cost. Then also you will get the same answer. Instead of dividing the 35,000 by 20 and then calculating 1750, you can also calculate this value by simply adding AFC plus AVC. So just like fixed cost plus variable cost equals to total cost, similarly AFC plus AVC is also equal to ATC. Is this clear, Alexander?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. So we have basically three types of average cost. Okay, getting back to the PowerPoint. So cost incurred on production of 1 unit of output is called average cost. So whatever the approximate expenditure that you have incurred on production of 1 unit of output will be your average cost. And average cost can be further categorized into three parts: average fixed, average variable, and average total cost. Now let's talk about average fixed cost and its behavior and its diagrammatic representation. So average fixed cost, the meaning of average fixed cost can be defined, it can be defined as fixed cost of producing 1 unit of output. Fixed cost of producing 1 unit of output is called average fixed cost. Now, how it is calculated? It is calculated by dividing the fixed cost by the total number of output produced. So fixed cost divided by quantity will give you average fixed cost. Now, one of the tendency of average fixed cost is that as we produce more quantity of output, average fixed cost tends to fall with the increase in output. As producer produces more quantity, average fixed cost will go on declining. It will keep on declining. Just opposite of the fixed cost. Fixed cost remains constant throughout the production, right? Either you increase the production or you decrease the production, there will be no impact on the fixed cost, value of fixed cost. Fixed cost is going to be constant. But when we talk about average fixed cost, as we produces more quantity, average fixed cost will keep on declining. Why does it happen? Why it happens? Because see, whenever you calculate average fixed cost, you divide the same fixed cost by the extra number of quantity, right? Like for example, like in this slide, you can see that at the first unit, fixed cost is 20. So the average fixed cost will also be 20. 20 divided by 1, it will give you 20. Then when we have produced one extra unit, that means 2 unit now, fixed cost is still same. Now to find out average fixed cost, we will divide 20 again by 2 this time. So every time in the denominator, we will have a greater value, we will have a larger value. And dividing the same number by the larger value will give you the smaller result, will give you the smaller value. So therefore, average fixed cost keep on declining continuously. From 20, it goes to 10, then 6.6, then 5, 4, 3, 2.85, and so on. As you produces more, average fixed cost will keep on declining. Is that clear, Alexander?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So average fixed cost continuously decline with the increase in output. This happens because fixed cost remains constant at every unit of output. But do you think that average fixed cost will become zero? The way average fixed cost is declining from 20, it goes to 10, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. It is continuously declining. Na? So do you think that average fixed cost is going to be zero at some point of time?
No.
No. And why is that?
Sir, no, I take that back. It could be zero.
It could be zero. And why it could be zero?
Eventually, when you divide it, maybe it could be zero.
Okay. See, whenever you calculate average fixed cost, na, Alexander, you will always keeping 20 on in the denominator, and every time you will be keeping the keeping some quantity in the denominator, right? So you will have some value on the numerator, correct? So any number divided by any number will not give you 0. Getting my point?
Yes.
Because fixed cost can never be 0. So if fixed cost can never be 0, how can the average fixed cost can be 0? Even average fixed cost can never be 0. You will be dividing 20 by any number. Let's suppose you have produced 1 lakh unit of output, for example, and you will have to bear the same fixed cost. So 20 divided by 1 lakh will give you some positive number. It is not going to give you 0. Therefore, average fixed cost can never be 0. It can be closer to 0, but it can never be 0. All right. So even if it goes on declining with every unit of output, it can never be 0. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now look at this point. As the output increases, average fixed cost declines, but it can never be 0. Now, let's talk about the diagrammatic representation of the average fixed cost. So see, one thing that you should notice here is that when you will calculate fixed cost at 0 unit of output, it will give you infinity, because 20 divided by 0 will be infinity. Any number divided by 0 will be infinity, right? So therefore infinity. Okay, so now tell me, if average fixed cost is continuously declining, then what kind of curve will it form on the graph? Whether it will be an upward sloping curve, a downward sloping curve, parallel to x-axis, U curve, inversely H shape, what kind of diagram it will form on the graph?
Sir, will it be
Just use logic and tell me. Looking at the values, what do you think? What is going? How the graph will be formed? It is
inverse?
continuously declining, na?
Yeah. Will it
So
be inverse S?
how can it be inverse? Inverse S, do you mean inverse S basically indicate that something is continuously increasing, initially increasing at a decreasing rate, then increasing at an increasing rate. Only then it can be inversely S-shaped curve, right? Here,
Yeah.
what is happening? Something is declining, continuously decreasing. So use logic and tell me how the curve will be formed.
Just a downward sloping.
Downward sloping, correct, perfect. It will be a downward sloping curve. Why it will be a downward sloping curve? Because it continuously keep on declining. But just keep this in mind. Average fixed cost will keep on declining, but it can never touch x-axis. It can never touch x-axis because AFC can never see average fixed cost curve can only touch x-axis when the value of average fixed cost can be 0. Since average fixed cost can never be 0, therefore average fixed cost curve can never touch x-axis. Number 1. Similarly, it also does not touch y-axis because it can touch y-axis only when at 0 unit of output we can present the average fixed cost on the diagram. But you can see that at 0 unit of output, average fixed cost is infinity, right? And infinity cannot be presented on the diagram. Therefore, whenever we make the diagram, average fixed cost can never touch y-axis, it will never touch x-axis. Getting my point? It will keep on declining continuously, neither touching x and nor y-axis. Is that clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we will be presenting the average fixed cost curve. So this is not marginal cost, this is average fixed cost. Okay, so at first unit, average fixed cost is 20. So for the second unit, it will be 10. Third unit, it will be 6.67. Then a 5. Then 3.33, and then 2.5, and so on. It will keep on declining. So when we connect these dots through a line, it will form a downward sloping curve. This kind of curve it will form. Now you can see that it is not, it is neither touching x-axis, neither it is touching the y-axis. Why it is not touching y-axis? Because at 0 unit of output, average fixed cost is infinity, and at 0 unit of output, infinity cannot be presented on the diagram. Therefore, we are not reflecting the AFC at 0 unit of output. Similarly, at the AFC can never touch x-axis because AFC can never be 0. Therefore, it will always lie between the y and the x-axis, making a this diagram is obviously it is a downward sloping curve, but the AFC curve is called rectangular hyperbola curve. Alexander, AFC curve, name of AFC curve is rectangular hyperbola. Name given to AFC curve is rectangular hyperbola curve. Obviously, it is a downward sloping curve, but there is a name which is given to the AFC curve, which is rectangular hyperbola curve. So it is a rectangular hyperbola curve, neither touching x nor y axis. It never touch x axis because at 0 unit AFC is infinity. So this is not x axis, this is y axis. So this will be y axis, and which cannot be presented on the diagram, correct? It never touch x axis, so here it will be x axis, cause AFC can never be 0. Tell me, Alexander, is this clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's talk about average variable cost. Average variable cost means cost of producing a variable cost incurred for producing 1 unit of output. It is calculated by applying this formula, variable cost divided by quantity, and as the output increases, average variable cost initially declines, then reaches its minimum point, and then after that it starts increasing. So just like average fixed cost keep on declining, average variable cost initially decreases, reaches its minimum point, and after that it starts increasing. Let me show you on the schedule. So this is how average fixed cost will be calculated. So let's suppose we have taken the quantity as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and variable costs on these different units are 0, 10, 18, 24, 28, 35, 48, 70, and 96. And in the third column, we have calculated AVC by dividing the variable cost by quantity. So 0 divided by 0 will give you 0 average variable cost. Then 10 divided by 1, it will be 10, 18 divided by 2, 9, and so on, 8, 7, 7, 8, 10, and 12. So what you will notice in the third column, in the column of AVC, that AVC is initially declining, right? If you avoid 0 unit, just start looking from the first unit onwards, you will see that from first unit onward, initially it is decreasing. 10, 9, 8, and 7. Till this point, it is decreasing. So 7th is the minimum point, right? 7th is the minimum point. After 7, it starts to increase from 6th unit onwards. It starts to increase from 7, it goes to 8, then 10, then 12. So here you can notice that AVC is initially declining, then it starts picking up, it starts increasing, right? So by looking at the values, can you tell me when we will draw the diagram of AVC, how will it be formed? Whether it will be parallel to x-axis, downward sloping, inversely A shape, U shape, what kind of curve it will form?
Sir, U-shaped.
U shape, correct. It will be a U-shaped curve because it is initially decreasing, reaching its minimum point, and then it starts increasing. Do you find any similarity between AVC and any other cost? We have did a similar type of cost having the same behavior. That also initially decreases, reaches its minimum point, and then starts to increase.
Yes, marginal cost.
Marginal cost, correct. So average variable cost and marginal cost are behavior wise both are same. Both have the same behavior. Values are different, obviously, and both are concept wise both are different things, but behavior, both the behavior of both average and average variable cost and marginal cost have similar behavior. So here you will notice that average variable cost initially decreases, reaches its minimum point, and then starts to increase. Therefore, it will make a U-shaped curve. This kind of curve it will form. This is average variable cost. Tell me, Alexander, is this clear to you?
Clear, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, let's also talk about average total cost. So average total cost of producing total cost of producing 1 unit of output is called average total cost. Total cost of producing 1 unit of output is called average total cost. And average total cost is equal to total cost divided by number of unit. So this is one formula. We have other formula as well for calculating average total cost, wherein we add AFC and AVC together to calculate ATC. Now ATC have the similar, exactly same behavior, just like AVC. ATC and AVC are both behavior wise same. Just like if you are able to recall, while discussing the variable cost and total cost, you must have noticed that behavior of total cost and variable cost are same, right? If variable cost increases at a decreasing rate initially, and after that it start increasing at an increasing rate, same goes with the total cost. Total cost also increases at decreasing rate initially, and after some time it starts to increase at an increasing rate. So just like variable cost and total cost are similar and interrelated, similarly average variable cost and average total cost are similar and interrelated. Both have similar similar characteristics, similar behavior, similar diagrammatic presentation. See, as the output increases, average total cost also declines initially, reaches its minimum point, and then thereafter it starts to increase. So we can illustrate this, we can understand this on the schedule as well. So on the schedule you can see on this table I have taken 5 columns. First is regarding quantity, then we have fixed cost and variable cost and the total cost. And in the 4th column, I have calculated the average total cost by dividing the total cost by the quantity. So 10 divided by 0, it will be infinity, then 20, 14, 11.3, 9.5, 9, 9.6, 11.11. So in this table as well, in the schedule as well, you will notice that average total cost is initially declining. Ignoring the 0 unit, you will notice from the 1st unit onward, you will notice that at 1st unit it was 20, then it goes down to 14, then 11.3, then 9.5, and then 9. So it is declining basically. And after the 5th unit, from 6th unit onward, it starts to increase 9.6 and 11.11. And if producer produces more quantity, let's suppose producer produces 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 units, then you will notice that average total cost will keep on increasing. So don't you think that behavior of ATC is exactly like AVC, right?
Yes.
And similarly, because both have the similar behavior, so diagrammatic representation will be exactly same. Only difference will be that average total cost curve will always fall above the average variable cost. Since average total cost contains 2 components, component of the AFC as well as AVC. Average total cost contains 2 elements, average variable cost and average fixed cost. So whenever you will compare the AVC and ATC curves, both will look exactly same because both have the similar pattern and behavior. But whenever you will compare AVC and ATC, you will find that ATC will always fall above the AVC. ATC will be above the AVC since ATC contains 2 component of AFC and AVC, whereas variable cost will always be below the average total cost curve since it does not contain any other component. Tell me, is this clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, diagrammatically it will have the same diagram. This is how it will be presented. So this is not ATC, sorry, this is not AVC, this is actually ATC. Okay, both have the same behavior and pattern. All right, so hopefully all of these things are clear to you. Now we will move to the questions. Now let's discuss about, let's solve this question. So in this question we need to find out the, first of all we need to find out the total cost, total fixed cost, and we need to find out total variable cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost, and average cost and marginal cost. Okay, so average cost basically means average total cost. Whenever in the question it is written that you need to find average cost, it means you need to find out average total cost. Got it? Is that clear to
Yes.
you?
Yes, sir.
So can you solve this, please? So I'm giving you 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. Please solve all the component of this question. You need to find out TVC, AFC, AVC, AC, and MC. Will you be able to solve this?
Okay, sir, I'll try.
Okay, try it. I'm giving you 5-7 minutes, then I'll ask you, and if you need help, then I'll help you.
Sir, how do you find the fixed cost? Sir, you're muted. Sir, you're muted.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, as you can see, at 0 unit of output, total cost is 10. Now, first of all, tell me at 0 unit of output, what will be the variable cost?
0.
0. And what will be total cost? So total cost will be some, sorry, what will be the fixed cost? Fixed cost will be some positive value, obviously. Now see, at 0 unit of output, if total cost is given as 10, that means, just tell me how total cost is calculated. Total cost is calculated by applying the formula variable cost plus fixed cost, right? So if at 0 unit of output, variable cost is 0, then what do you think? How much will be the fixed cost? Not clear? Just a minute, let me explain this. Okay, so let's suppose these are the units 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and suppose I have given you total cost of 50, then 80, then 90, then 150, and 300, like this. Now tell me, first of all, just tell me, at 0 unit, what will be my variable cost? So it will be 0, definitely. And okay, and what will be my fixed cost? So that I don't know how to calculate fixed cost. We are not sure about this. Now tell me, you can see that at 0 unit of output, total cost is 50, right? Now, do you know how do we calculate total cost? So total cost is calculated by adding variable cost plus fixed cost, right? So if at 0 unit of output, variable cost is 0, total cost is equal to 10, then how much will be the fixed cost? It will be, sorry, not 10, it's 50, 50. So it must be, fixed cost must be 50. Getting my point? Alexander, is this clear to you?
Sir, could you say that again?
Okay, just a minute. Let me try it. Okay. See, Alexander, just tell me how to calculate total cost. So simply we simply add fixed cost and variable cost to find out the total cost, right? So let's suppose if I have at 0 unit of output, let's suppose if fixed cost is 20, variable cost will be how much? At 0 unit of output, variable cost will be how much, Alexander?
0.
0. Then total cost will be
20.
20, correct? Because total cost is equals to fixed cost plus variable. Now tell me, by chance, if only total cost is given to you at 0 unit of output and fixed cost is not given, can you tell me what will be the value of the fixed cost?
It will be, we should equate the values, right? TC is equal to.
It will be 20 now, obviously.
Yeah.
Right? See, total cost, as I'm saying, fixed cost is added to variable cost, then we get total cost. So if fixed cost is 20, variable cost is 0, then total cost will be 20. 20 plus 0 will be 20. Now similarly, if instead of giving you fixed cost, I have only given you the total cost. At 0 unit, total cost is 20. That means it will be fixed cost will also be 20, because at 0 unit of output there will be no variable cost, so entire total cost will be equal to fixed cost only, na? Right, Alexander, is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so since if at 0 unit of output fixed cost is 20, then at all the unit it will remain 20. Okay, now we can calculate, we will simply add, sorry, from total cost you can simply reduce fixed cost to find out the variable cost, and once variable cost is calculated, after that you can simply calculate AVC, ATC, AFC, all these value. And to calculate marginal cost, you can simply take into consideration the changes taking place in the total cost. So I hope this is clear to you, and I'm sure that you can do this question. Is this clear now?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So Alexander, I'm giving you this as your homework. Please try it at home once, and let me know in the next class if you have any difficulty. Got it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and possibly I'll be arranging a class tomorrow. I'm not confirming the time yet, but I'll inform you through Nishkarsh. He will inform you. Probably we will have a class at around 6 or 7 o'clock, maybe. But this is not confirmed timing. I'll inform you accordingly. Okay.
Yeah, but sir, there's a test tomorrow, right?
There is a test. Yeah, there is a test tomorrow. But the timing for the test is what?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, I'll talk to Nishkarsh and fix a class for you accordingly.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So this is it for today. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.